I know we've just met, but I wanted to share a secret about me. I've been in the corporate world for 20 years, but my secret, I'm a trained classical musician. I studied piano since the age of 5 with one of the pianists from the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. On my first date with John, he casually shared one of his house rules: no pits that fit under the refrigerator. On our second date, I brought Sky, a petite, 120-pound Great Dane. On our third date, John emailed an MP3 of one of his favorite pieces of music and continued doing so every day for 6 months. 1 year from our first date, we were married. Our connection continues to include our love of dogs and music and still no pets that fit under the refrigerator. And 3 years after we married, we adopted our son, Elijah Alexander Joseph Verhovshek. He has 2 middle names, one which originated from my family and one from John's family. Music was and continues to be Eli's daily soundtrack, and Eli, now 5, from day one has loved the arts. Classical music soothes him to sleep. He calls it the classics. He takes piano and voice lessons, and he loves seeing others perform. But some moments it's hard to spend time with Eli and not think about my father's history. 15,000 children went into Terezin, a concentration camp near Prague. My father, George Alexander Baum, was one of those children and one of less than 150 children who miraculously survived Terezin. 150 out of 15,000. So here I am, a daughter of a Holocaust survivor and the mother of a young, beautiful boy, and we're living during these turbulent and divided times. To honor my father's legacy and in hope for my son's future, I felt I had to do something. 6.6 million. We've all heard this number before, right? I see heads nodding. 6.6 million Jews died in the Holocaust. But in today's world, especially for young people, this feels to be simply a statistic. It does not feel like a reality of our past. Can our brains fathom the depth of the impact and relevance of this number, especially in today's world? What we do know is that it's still here today, over 70 years later. Hate, a lack of inclusivity, racism, and anti-Semitism continue to be alive and pervasive. Don't we find ourselves asking, what can I do about it? How can we connect our past to our present? On Saturday, June 1st, 2019, a performance called Defiant Requiem will take place at the Thomas Wolfe Auditorium. We will be performing Verdi's Requiem in its entirety, led and narrated by the program's passionate conductor, Maestro Murray Sidlin. We've hired the Asheville Symphony and are organizing a local, diverse, 150-person community chorus. The story of Defiant Requiem is universal, and so it is through music and conversation that I'm driven to make a difference. In response to the growing trend of acts of hatred in our country and the world, and with the help of individual donors, I'm working to bring Defiant Requiem to Asheville. And why Verdi's Requiem? At Terezin, music was an oasis for solidarity, allowing prisoners the opportunity to retain a sense of identity. With a single smuggled score of Verdi's Requiem, Raphael Schechter led his fellow prisoners to sing this Latin requiem as defiance and resistance to the Nazis. In Terezin, prisoners suffered from hunger, disease, physical and psychological exhaustion. But among the devastation and constant threat of death, music provided a respite of hope. Schechter told his choir, "We will sing to the Nazis what we cannot say to them." And Verdi's Requiem was performed 16 times at Terezin. Through the Latin, the Requiem was a warning of God's coming wrath against their captors, and the unspoken message to the Nazis was a proclamation of the prisoners' unbroken spirit. The Latin words to the Requiem, "Liberate me eternally from eternal death." But through this music, prisoners found a spiritual reawakening, a reassurance. My father, though never trained on a musical instrument, has the uncanny ability to listen to a piece of music, and in seconds he can name its title, the composer, the year it was written, and what key it is in. Though he was never a musician, he was too young to be involved in the Requiem performances. He was forever affected and changed by the music of Terezin. That is the power of the arts. I'm the bridge between my father's legacy and my son's future, and I want to make my son's future one where hearts and minds come together in peace, and to have a world with more love and less hate. Music has the power to break down barriers. Stories can guide us and push us beyond our biases and opinions. A reminder lives on that even in these hardships, there were remarkable people who with utter stamina defied hate and sought moments of peace and empathy through their love of music. Last year, in a study of Holocaust awareness, it was reported that 22% of US millennials had not heard of the Holocaust. What can we do? Join us. The Defiant Requiem performance will include video testimony from survivors of the original chorus at Terezin. Actors and international soloists, including 2 who have sung with the Met, will relay the impassioned story of Raphael Schechter. Our sponsors are underwriting tickets for students to attend this concert for free. And the performance is just one part of the project. We're coordinating educational programs surrounding the concert for students and educators on oppression, inclusivity, anti-hate, anti-racism, and justice. The intention is to create conversations for young people especially on how all oppressions are intricately linked. Through our conversations, we hope to form a culture of respect and inclusion and to bring humanity into our discussions around anti-Semitism and other forms of ethnic, religious, gender, and racial hatred and oppression. Our goal is to provide a historic context to the current incidents of hate in our nation. The community events in Asheville will include a screening of the Defiant Requiem film and a Q&A session with Maestro Sidlin, coordinated discussions with students, a transformative talk and masterclasses for our colleges, and other community activities in partnership with local organizations focused on inclusivity. In memorializing the defiance of the prisoners at Terezin, through its performance, Defiant Requiem elevates awareness of social injustice and demonstrates resistance to oppression under seemingly impossible circumstances, bringing hope and inspiration. I need this hope as a mother, as a daughter, and as a person of Jewish heritage.